This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The Court of Appeal refuses to stay the Adrian Gibson trial. Jury impaneled in the corruption case. Atlanta says it's disheartened by government's approach on the Royal Caribbean matter. And the Attorney General says the UN must do more to help Haiti. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, May 19th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Also this morning, we're going to be previewing a Back in Time event scheduled for next month. We've got all the details, so you can mark it on your calendar. And later in our Safe and Sound series, our monthly look at hurricane readiness, we are talking about this from a maritime port safety perspective. That's coming up in business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a Supreme Court jury is expected to begin hearing testimony in the corruption trial of F&M Long Island MP Adrian Gibson and 5 others. That's going to start on Tuesday. Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson impaneled the 5 men and 4 women who will hear the case Thursday afternoon after defense counsel failed to convince the Court of Appeal to stay the proceedings, pending an appeal of a pretrial constitutional motion that alleged that Gibson could not get a fair trial because he had been prejudiced in the preparation of his defense. Prosecutors allege that Gibson failed to disclose his interest in the government contracts that he received, and that he received $1.1 million in payments from contracts awarded by the Water and Sewerage Corporation while he served as its executive chairman. Gibson is further accused of laundering the proceeds of those payments through the purchase of cars and real estate. He faces charges of making a false declaration, conspiracy to commit bribery, receiving, and money laundering. Gibson is charged along with his cousin, Rashay Gibson, Elwood Donaldson, the former general manager of the corporation, Joan Knowles, Jerome Missick, and Peaches Farquharson. They all face charges of fraud concerning contracts awarded by the corporation. The defendants entered not guilty pleas to the 98-count indictment after they were rearraigned on Thursday. The jury was seated at the defense team, exhausted its peremptory challenges to the members of the panel. 2 tourists in Exuma awakened by 3 gunmen, blindfolded and driven to an ATM where they were forced to withdraw cash shortly after midnight yesterday. Police say the men entered the visitors' vacation home in Georgetown while the man and woman were sleeping. Police said in a statement that the men reportedly blindfolded the victims, drove them to a nearby ATM where the victims were forced to withdraw that cash. During the incident, the victims were not physically harmed, we're told, and they were released shortly afterward. Officers from the Criminal Investigation Department in New Providence were expected to travel to Exuma to assist with the investigation. Atlanta's Senior Vice President for Government Affairs and Special Projects Vaughn Roberts says the resort is disheartened by the decision of the Department of Labor to conduct a survey to determine if employees were pressured and intimidated by a senior executive to take a particular course of action in relation to the Royal Caribbean International proposed $100 million beach club project on the western end of Paradise Island. The Department of Labor handed out surveys to Atlantis employees last week seeking to determine if they felt intimidated by a communication to staff, which was made by Atlantis President and Managing Director Audrey Oswell. Responding to reporters' questions on the matter, Roberts said that, quote, Atlantis made a statement some time ago about its environmental concerns with respect to the Royal Caribbean project here on Paradise Island. A few weeks after we made that public statement, we also informed our employees as to why we went out publicly, and part of that message was to encourage anyone who had a view to express those views. We did not receive any detail of what the complaints were, and we agreed to cooperate, but as a practice for the last 25 years, cooperation has been different than what was demonstrated here last week. As reported by the Nassau Guardian on May 10th, the survey questions included, are you aware of the public statements made by the resort managing director regarding the RCI investment? Have you been approached by management to lobby against the project? And do you feel intimidated or obligated to lobby against the RCI project? Meanwhile, Roberts says that Wendy's and Marco's pizza brands would not fit the aesthetics of Paradise Island and would create traffic congestion, leading the resort to team up with other stakeholders on Paradise Island to oppose the proposed move. Roberts says, quote, we don't think it fits in with the ethos and the aesthetics of what we aspire for Paradise Island. We don't really see it as competition. Our food and beverage business is about $200 million a year. A single fast food outlet is not really a threat to us. Meanwhile, a credible source at Wendy's who spoke yesterday on condition of anonymity said it appears that Atlantis' main concern is indeed competition. That individual pointed out that Atlantis plans to open Shake Shack, a burger joint, and likely does not want the competition from Wendy's. Dunkin' Donuts was recently allowed to expand, and the Burger Shack, which is now converted to Shake Shack, is also a fast food concept according to the source. Overseas, leaders of the world's most powerful democracies vowing today to tighten punishments on Russia for its 15-month invasion of Ukraine, days before Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky joins the Group of Seven summit in person on Sunday. The G7 leaders saying in a statement released after closed-door meetings, quote, our support for Ukraine will not waver. We vow to stand together against Russia's illegal, unjustifiable, and unprovoked war of aggression against Ukraine. Russia started this war and can't end this war. The Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council confirming on national television that Zelensky would attend the summit. Zelensky on Friday opened a visit to Saudi Arabia, where Arab leaders were holding a separate summit. Russian President Vladimir Putin's nuclear threats against Ukraine, along with North Korea's months-long barrage of missile tests and China's rapidly expanding nuclear arsenal, have resonated with Japan's push to make nuclear disarmament a major part of the summit. World leaders today visited a peace park dedicated to the tens of thousands who died in the world's first wartime atomic bomb detonation. After group photos near the city's iconic bombed-out dome, a wreath-laying and symbolic cherry tree planting, a new round of sanctions were unveiled against Moscow with a focus on redoubling efforts to enforce existing sanctions meant to stifle Russia's war effort and hold accountable those behind it. In sports, Bahamian Beach volleyball players John Isaacs and Eugene Stewart are in Grand Cayman in the Cayman Islands, set to play on one of the stops of the 2023 NORCACA, the North Central American and Caribbean Volleyball Confederation Beach Volleyball Tour. That gets underway today and wraps up on Sunday. Isaac said that the Cayman Islands is one of the preferred destinations for the tour. You can read all about it in today's Guardian Sports section. Opening night is tonight for the Bahamian women's professional basketball player Jonquel J.J. Jones and her new team, the New York Liberty. That's in the WNBA. They will get their 2023 season underway against the Washington Mystics on the road in Washington, D.C. That game is set for 7 p.m. will be broadcasted on NBA TV. New York Liberty will be looking to improve on their 16-20 win-loss record from last season. Made the playoffs as the 7th seed, but were eliminated 2-1 in the first round by the Chicago Sky. From the NBA, after Nikola Jokic's monster game in the opener, his pick-and-roll partner Jamal Murray took the spotlight in the Western Conference Finals Thursday night. Murray scoring 23 of his 37 points in the fourth quarter, propelling the Denver Nuggets to a 108-103 come-from-behind win over the Los Angeles Lakers. The Nuggets now have a 2-0 lead in that best-of-7 series. And from the NHL, the playoffs are going on there too. A marathon game last night. Back and forth they went. And the Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes playing a game that seemed destined to have no end, while leaving legs growing wobbly with each passing minute. Then just as the teams appeared headed for yet another extra period, Matthew Tkachuk pounced on his chance to finish off yet another overtime and road victory for the Panthers. The Panthers get a 3-2 win over the Hurricanes in a game that ended around 2 a.m. this morning in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got a weak pressure pattern across the area. That's going to result in light to gentle winds today. Meanwhile, a mid to upper level disturbance moving east across the islands. And a moist air mass, along with daytime heating, will support shower and thunderstorm activity across the islands. Boaters should be alert for water spout and funnel cloud activity. There's a potential for some thunderstorms to be strong and severe at times. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny conditions with occasionally cloudy periods with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Warm and humid tonight with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms possible. For boaters, gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers and thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Temperatures today getting closer and closer to 90 degrees for highs. Is going to feel like it's in the 90s. Highs around 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
At Doctor's Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free Prime Care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off lab, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Fidelity, we're good for you. My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
You could win your share of $1,000 and free annual memberships when you apply for your Mobile Assist Visa Travel Rewards Card. It's a prepaid Visa that gives you access to travel and online shopping deals worldwide every single day. Enter automatically when you successfully apply through our Mobile Assist app. Use your prepaid Visa 5 times or more, and you are automatically entered to win your share of $1,000. See our social media pages for more details. Apply, save, and win with Mobile Assist.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
The 3rd Annual Ackland's Cascarilla Heritage Festival, June 8th to the 11th. Come celebrate down-home style during 3 days packed with activities. Hear native stories and songs as we kick off opening night at the King Eric Regatta Park. Explore Ackland's and its rich history, family roots, and natural resources, all while sightseeing. Taste island cuisine and enjoy cultural activities every night on the Regatta Park grounds. We've got bark beating contests, quadrille dancing, cascarilla racing, and activities for the kids. Music performances by Ebony 242, the Magical Beat Band, Bloody, Shine, and Sugar, and other special guests. The 3rd Annual Ackland's Cascarilla Heritage Festival, June 8th to the 11th, down in Spring Point, Ackland's. Book your seats now by calling Bahamas Air. See you there. This ad has been sponsored by Screws and Fasteners World.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Stephen Hanna, good morning, sir.
Interesting way to pronounce it. Okay.
What? Which way? Is that not how it's pronounced?
Not with an E, but okay.
Who said what?
It sounds like you're saying Hannah.
No, I don't think that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, you're hearing things as usual. But good to have you with us on this Friday morning. Well, we have quite a bit to talk about this morning. Coming up, we're going to get a preview of a special event next month at Fort Charlotte. It's called Back in Time, and it's going to require quite a bit of, or inspire a bit of nostalgic reminiscing, and we may be doing that over the next few weeks as well. About I don't know if we can really call them the good old days. Some of it was good. Some of it was good. Yeah, some of it was better than what we're doing now. But in some ways, no, not quite. But we're going to talk about the event, and so you can mark that down to make sure that you're there. And then later in our Safe and Sound monthly series, it's a special month. We're doing weekly segments as we prepare for hurricane season, just days away now. Today we're looking at maritime port safety. So that is all straight ahead. But let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, big headline in the Nassau Guardian, appeals court refuses to stay the Gibson trial. They're talking about Adrian Gibson. The jury has been impaneled in the corruption case, and that jury is expected to begin hearing testimony in that trial of the F&M Long Island MP and 5 others Tuesday. Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson impaneled the 5 men and 4 women who will hear the case Thursday afternoon after defense counsel failed to convince the Court of Appeal to stay the proceedings, pending an appeal of a pretrial constitutional motion that alleged that Gibson could not get a fair trial because he had been prejudiced in preparation of his defense. All right, so you can read all about that in today's Nassau Guardian. Yeah. Other big story here, visitors robbed in Exuma. 2 tourists on Exuma were awakened by 3 gunmen. They were blindfolded and driven to an ATM where they were forced to withdraw cash shortly after midnight yesterday. Police say they were not harmed, and they were released shortly after, and CID officers are going to be making their way to Exuma to investigate this.
They're not there yet?
I don't know, but they're expected there. All right, so Atlantis has been in the news quite a bit, and some very interesting stories. Briefly on the RCI matter, Royal Caribbean, we talked about this a lot last week when we learned that Department of Labor officials had been on the property handing out surveys to Atlantis employees to see if they felt they were intimidated after managing director Audrey Oswell and Atlantis president asked the staff to be vocal if they feel that the Royal Caribbean project could be environmentally harmful and economically harmful in any way. Speak out if they felt that they needed to say something. But some employees...
And nobody finds that to be weird?
It's weird, but I mean...
It's beyond weird, Dwight.
Okay. But it didn't seem like a directive.
It is a directive.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a whole thing. I forget the exact term for it, but it's like...
That's like, is it weird to say go out to vote?
If your boss tells you to go out to vote, then they're telling you to go vote. Right. Which feels neutral, but itself is not neutral.
It's not?
No, because what if I'm a Jehovah's Witness?
You don't have to do it.
You literally just... Here's the thing. I now feel as though I can't tell you that I didn't vote, and I have to hide my uninked finger. I'm just saying, and that's when it's neutral.
Perhaps that's you. Why would you
imagine now. Imagine now, if you walk inside the office, and your boss is like, "Make sure you do the right thing now," make sure you do the right thing. They don't have to call nobody name.
It doesn't seem like that was done here.
Honestly, it is.
If
it's
you have
closer
a
to
view,
that. It's closer
share
to that.
your view. Like,
But
if you don't.
I don't have a view. I'm busy working.
Okay, well then don't.
All right, so why are you telling me? If I had a view, I would share it. I'm capable of
No,
doing that.
a lot of people don't.
Well, I
Plenty
definitely can do
people
it
don't.
now because you clearly have eyes on me and you have a view.
People are going to see things differently.
You didn't they like release like a front page thing with all their wasn't there a front page story with all of their issues with the development?
Yeah.
Right. So you have a view.
Atlantis.
Right. Atlantis has a view.
Mm-hmm.
If I, as an employee, go against this view, I'm just generally talking about it as a general Bahamian feeling, I don't think that many people think it's wise to speak on their view that opposes what their bosses think. So it's like, the only thing that you're inviting me to do is agree with you or not, or don't say anything at all.
All right.
And so it's like, it's what you're doing is you're creating a weird environment because now you're bringing this thing saying, hey, this is important to us. You need to think about this. Mm-hmm. And I've already expressed how I feel about it. So you can say however you want to feel about it. This is how I feel about it. That's not a friendly, let's all sit and chit-chat, fireside chat conversation.
I mean, I think it's open to interpretation.
It's not.
Is that right? I mean, we read it and we were like, it's unusual. We've never seen this tactic before.
It's
but,
only,
I mean, it's thousands
only
of people.
fine if
it's
you're
5 employees, you could say this. But,
No.
but thousands of people?
Because these things don't stay wide as it is. These things trickle down.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, if you send out it, I don't know if they send out any internal memos. I don't work at Atlantis. So I can't say whether or not they did. But it's like, if there is such an opinion, like, you already expressed what your opinion is.
Well, some of the employees said they did feel intimidated and they were approached, it seems like. So the Minister of Labor was saying, and they went to do this survey afterward. Now, this is what we talked about in the show last week. Well, if you already had people coming forward, why do you need to go and do surveys?
Because they want to see how many people, and maybe it probably is not. I'm sorry.
Two is too many,
guessing,
right?
I'm guessing 1 is too many.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it might just be one manager that had a weird conversation, right? And so it's like, before we get, because then
No.
It might be between people who are lateral.
No.
No, I'm saying
that's not necessary.
If it's between people who are lateral, they might say, okay, let's find out how bad is this situation before we do anything.
Ridiculous. This is the Minister of Labor and the President of Atlantis. These are the 2 biggest employers in the country. Call her up. We need to have a meeting. This is what we got. Bam. We don't need to go on your property and survey your employees. That's ridiculous. No, it's not. We already got these complaints. You need to deal with this because if this happens again, you're all going to be in big problems. Stop it right now. Why would you take this route? Her actions were bizarre. What you responded with is equally as bizarre. What is going on here? Are we in bizarro land? Everybody's doing foolishness?
Then the people end up fired, and then what?
Oh, and then you act on that too. Like, why did you do that? All those people who complained got fired. Then we have more. We have more to deal with.
I'm just saying that's how people generally feel inside the workplace, inside of office. That's why
this is a bizarre little country.
Only certain government corporations, people scream what their political affiliations are, because everybody else is like, I'm not trying to get fired over something dumb.
Okay. Well, so Atlantis says they are disheartened by the government's approach on the matter, and I mean it was a very bizarre approach. It was a very strange approach, and we can make a case that what Oswald did was strange as well.
I don't know why they're disheartened.
Why what?
Why are they disheartened?
Because it is weird.
Okay.
Why would you do that?
A lot of things are weird. That don't dishearten
you don't
me.
come on the property and survey all the employees. Demand to have a meeting with the executive team. We're already getting complaints. We don't need to survey the rest of your employees.
Yeah, but
if more come forward, we're going to sanction you or do something, whatever it is they can do.
But I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying I don't know if they should be disheartened, because it's like, if it turns out, this didn't happen, nothing, it's all a bunch of nothing, then it's like, then you're vindicated by their own survey. So it's like, that's why I'm like, I don't understand why you're disheartened.
Well, this is what they're saying. This is Vaughn Roberts. He says, we did not receive any detail of what the complaints were, and we agreed to cooperate. But, as practice for the last 25 years, cooperation has been different than what was demonstrated here last week. So we were very disheartened by it, but we could stand firm in our view that our employees can make the right decisions, good decisions of their own, and be the basis for sharing information around why we stood out as Atlantis with respect to environmental concerns. All right, let's get your reaction to this, folks, and then we want to get to the other issue, the fast food war. It's
not a war.
Well, some people are getting very heated about it. But let's get your views on this. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and call us toll-free, 242-300-5720. You can text us 422-4796 or tweet us at morningblend969. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
You know, I'm going to repeat this again, and I agree with what your co-host is saying. Atlanta seems to, when they're ready, to just say certain things so that they could get the upper hand. I'm going to go back to Bahama. They didn't want that there. So if someone else sees a great idea and say, oh, I want to put this there, and it doesn't suit them, you know, hundreds of people from the cruise ship go there, buy there, get their wristband, and walk all through Atlanta. That's revenue from them. So someone has another idea, say, look, let me put a beach over there. Let me put accommodation for tourists. And they're going to get mad? I mean, come on. Yeah, you're employing 6,000 people, but your mindset in terms of what others should get is not good for this community. As far as I'm concerned, it's not good.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Toll free, 242-300-5720.
Not allowed to say the C word. Not allowed to say the C word. Capitalism. Because clearly you have a different C word in mind.
I don't see why you can't say that one.
No, because, I mean, that's what it is. Capitalism it breeds a lack of empathy because you start to think, well, how can I get what's best for me and not what's best for the country or what's best for everyone? You know what I mean? And so if the basis of everything is how much money can I make in this particular situation, then your choices are going to be different. Your fights are going to be different. And that's the whole sentence, Dwight.
Okay.
You could take from that whatever you want, whether that means, you know, $60 burgers or nobody else could do any sort of entertainment in a 21-mile radius.
All right, let's read these messages. This person says here, it's called undue influence.
Yeah.
All right. Dwight, you just alluded to it being a topic. That's what it is. I don't understand. What does that mean?
Maybe you said, I don't know why this is a topic or something along those
I
lines.
don't recall saying that. I don't understand. Anyway, finally, a third political party coming from the precincts of the Pink Palace on Paradise Island. Is that what you think they are? Oh, Lord. Well, if the number of employees equals votes, then they get to beat some other third parties, definitely. Wow. This one says it's also hard to know, can you trust what the government is saying from the survey since they're pushing for RCI? Another one here. Atlantis opposed Albany, Bahamar, the container port. Hilton downtown. What? Did they? I don't think so. What, the British colonial? How would they? Well, anyway, unless you mean the point. I don't recall that. Anyway, the cruise port. Which cruise port? The RCI project, now a fast food chain. Do they own this country? Don't you think it would be weird if you tell your staff to go protest something? That is intimidating.
Every time that it has happened, it made me feel weird. Because I don't know if you remember a certain large group of persons who insisted that their employees go downtown and gave them shirts.
I don't remember that.
Remember that?
Who did that?
You remember all those Keep Your Corned Beef shirts?
Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. It's like, it's always weird when somebody does it. So I'm not going to not look at Atlanta's side eye because they didn't print shirts.
But that's not what they did, though. They didn't say.
They're just doing it
if
better.
you also have concerns,
Dwight, you know.
Speak to your rep, tell whatever. If you do, if you don't, well, that's your business. No?
I'm supposed to speak to somebody, when you say rep, who? Is this a person who works for Atlanta's? Because so I'm supposed to tell the guy who works for the big boss.
No,
I don't think this is a good idea.
They were saying speak to your
local representative.
Your what? Your what?
My local
member
representative?
of parliament, or to write to whomever. Right, that's what they were saying. If you also have concerns, if you do, and if you don't, you don't. That's how I read
concerns, but my concerns don't concern you.
Okay, well then the end of story.
You
think they're going to say, "Did you ever follow up with your MP about this matter?" You think they were going to do that?
I think that they might start once again. I'm just pulling from personal experience elsewhere. I've never worked at Atlanta's, so I can only speak to how business works inside the Bahamas. All right, you are actively encouraged.
Ain't nobody listens to us on a regular day. Why would they listen to anybody? Oh, I work over there. I'm very concerned. Oh yeah. Yeah, go back to work. That's all you'll get.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like it's going to make a difference.
No. But see, that you're thinking from the bottom floor, right? You're not thinking from how the undue stuff, the undue pressure, where somebody is saying, "Oh, you got to make sure you tell the people because that's going to destroy us." And these sentences are not coming by themselves. It's not just, "Hey, don't forget to utilize your political ability, whether you agree or disagree with Atlantis. Make sure that you practice being a good civil, a part of the community, and doing your civil duty to talk to you." That's not how the sentence is coming. The sentence is coming. So yeah, you got to do this because when RCI come, blah 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 blah. That's how that sentence is probably gonna come.
Okay,
right, and that's undue influence. You can't. There's a reason why it's frowned upon when somebody who is in management asks that line staff out on a date, because the implication would be this: you cannot remove the fact that this person could fire you from the equation, right? And it's not going to be different just because they didn't ask you on a date. They asking you to go harass your MP for them.
Okay. Well, I don't know how they would know if you did or you didn't.
They keep asking you.
They keep asking. Yeah, I did it. You got to show me proof. Well, then you
show me your inked thumb.
Okay.
Or what if I don't feel comfortable lying to you?
Well, fine. If that's what, go to the Department of Labor and do it that way, right? If you feel pressure.
When I leave my 3 a.m. night shift, I'm gonna go complain.
Yeah. Or call them in the morning before you go to work. What's the big deal? That's a problem now too. Going to complain is a problem. No, don't make excuses.
I'm saying that it's not a.
They will. Everybody's got a day off. You can that's not that. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I just saying I don't have a problem with the survey.
Oh well, there are better ways to deal with it.
Okay.
If you had 7 people, I don't know how many people you had. You say first of all, it was weird what you did.
One person.
Yes, exactly. It was weird what you did. And now we're getting people coming to say that they feel intimidated. So we have a problem, and we need to fix this now. And if we get any more complaints, this is what's going to happen to you, right? There's no reason to come on the property and serve.
I would like to know what the list of things that would happen to him would be.
Yeah, well, that's another show. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Now you want a food.
Morning, Glenn. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
Like I said, when I worked in the hotels years ago, you just have to be intelligent enough to read the bulletin board and pay attention to what the manager said. It was done in a very, very different way. And it was like always this challenge we had between the locals and the expats. And if you didn't take the right side or just try to be neutral properly, you probably wasn't around, So this thing is systemic. This has been going on a long time. It relates to manipulating the way people think and getting them to move in the direction you want them to. That's why I so highly appreciate the age we're living in now, where we have to lie to you and would actually do whatever you want them to do, cook, clean, wash, whatever you want. And then you don't have to face these issues anymore because you're living in a different world. Looking forward to new beginning for me because I'm getting 2 sentient beings.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you very much. All right, so let's move on to the other issue here. So our Jared Higgs is writing about this. A senior executive at Atlantis said yesterday that Wendy's and Marco's pizza brands would not fit the aesthetics of Paradise Island and would create traffic congestion, leading the resort to team up with other stakeholders on Paradise Island to oppose. Atlanta's Senior Vice President for Government Affairs and Special Projects, Vaughn Roberts, said, quote, "We don't think it fits in with the ethos and the aesthetics of what we aspire for Paradise Island. We don't really see it as competition. Our food and beverage business is about $200 million a year, so you know a single fast food outlet is not really a threat to us." However, a credible source at Wendy's, who spoke yesterday without any expectation of attribution, said it appears that Atlantis' main concern is indeed competition. That individual pointed out that Atlantis plans to open a Shake Shack, a burger joint, and likely does not want the competition from Wendy's. The source said, quote,
"They also sell frozen custards."
The source said, quote, "Dunkin' Donuts was recently allowed to expand, and the Burger Shack, which is now being converted to Shake Shack, again, it's a fast food concept. Wendy's is fast food, or what we technically call a quick service restaurant. So for us, there is really no difference. The fundamental difference is it being about competition, and based on what we're seeing, there's this interest or this agenda to block Bahamians or Bahamian businesses from expanding onto Paradise Island. So for us, that's what it's really about, wanting to block out the competition, wanting to essentially tell Bahamians where you can and cannot do business. This is hilarious. Wendy's, yeah, you all calling that Bahamian? Okay, sure. Anyway, that's joking. Yeah, sure, a Bahamian has the franchise, but Bahamian, yeah, okay. Anyway, the Wendy's source said the design for the Paradise Island Wendy's does not call for a drive-through, and it is very unlikely that with 12 Wendy's locations on New Providence, individuals will drive to Paradise Island to patronize the restaurant.
I would, because it'll be the clean one. It'd be the cleanest one.
Sir.
The cleanest one.
You'd spend the $2, yeah? Okay.
I mean, I'd probably already on the island.
What?
I'd probably already be on PI.
So if you're over there, that's a different story.
Yeah. No one's going to drive. That's why there are 12 of them. Right. So that nobody drives.
That's what the source is saying. Right. So why did you add anyway?
No, I'm saying I would.
No. Anyway,
go there.
As such, the Wendy's source said the concern expressed about traffic congestion is unwarranted, and it won't be a drive-through. Now, Roberts from Atlanta said the fast food brand wouldn't fit into the growing landscape of high-end developments on Paradise Island. He said, quote, "We are aware that at Atlantis of a number of significant luxury projects that are underway here on Paradise Island, some that we're proposing at Atlantis and others that other developers are proposing. Sterling, Hurricane Hole, the Four Seasons. Owners are developing a luxury residential Four Seasons, and there are other projects as well. So collectively, we just feel like whether it's today or whether it's our aspirations for Paradise Island, we really don't see how a Wendy's and a Marco's Pizza fit at that location on Paradise Island." Oh, boy. The dispute dates back to last year when Roberts said Atlantis was made aware of attempts by the owners of the Wendy's franchise to open a location on Paradise Island. He said the Scotiabank building was for sale. A local Bahamian family bought it with the intention of converting its use to fast food operations. We got word of it through the Department of Physical Planning. We participated in what seemed like a private discussion on it. We voiced objections then. When we go back to the modern Paradise Island as we know it, it really is the vision of Saul Kersner, and it was really designed with the intent to being this idyllic kind of environment. You know, Paradise Island itself kind of denotes what you should expect when you see here. So we oppose it on the basis of the potential to create traffic and congestion.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's get your reaction to all of this. Your reaction to this story. This has been making the rounds for a couple of days. Lots of
Who would they
back
like
and
it to
forth.
be? Do they want, or are they trying to build their own Eastern Bay Street where they just have like random abandoned buildings on Paradise Island?
No, they want it to be high-end stuff.
What do they want it to be?
Very fancy dining.
Okay.
Cloth, tablecloth.
You could have tablecloths in there, and that's why. And honestly, in my mind, Dwight, it'll be the Wendy's with the diamond chandeliers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I don't know if you remember back in the before times. There used to be a couple Wendy's that had like a little bakery cafe on the side.
I do recall that.
Right.
Yeah.
They tried it out. I mean, it didn't take. But I feel like they might come back with a concept like that. I was like, this one is different. And this might be the first Wendy's in a couple of years.
Let's not speculate. Let's not speculate. But
that has seating,
it's very interesting
and not just a walk-up.
Don't they all have that again? No, they're not doing that anymore. Are you sure?
The new Wendy's are the new of the franchises.
No, I mean, are you saying
takeaways.
that the existing ones are not back to that since the pandemic?
No. I mean, people sit in them, I guess. But I'm saying like,
yeah. Well, that's different.
I'm talking about this might be one of the
well, of course,
more recent ones that actually have indoor seating as opposed to
it depends on the locations. Wherever they are different. Yeah. So yeah. All right, let's get your reaction to this. What do you make of what's being said here? Again, there are other fast food, quick serve type restaurants there on Paradise Island. What's the difference with this one?
Oh, you mean like Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin', I believe Quiznos is still open. So what's the difference here?
Oh.
Let's get your reaction. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of fast food health-wise, but I don't support fast food, particularly this one, who don't take care of their staff or pay them properly. So I don't support them. I normally boycott them. So they don't need to be over PI. They have enough franchise in this country, but when you don't take care of the Indian people, I don't support you. Point blank. Thank you.
All right.
People around here.
Oh, no, you kicking it home.
Right. I mean, where did you buy the food from? I don't understand. Good God. Okay, good morning, caller.
Dwight, find out about Bamboo Shack. See where the Bamboo Shack can go Paradise Island. See if that's off limit also.
No, they put a Frankie.
Do that for us.
They put a Frankie going bananas there. They wouldn't put a Bamboo Shack there.
Okay. All right.
Now, if you really want to get like
the Quiznos is not open anymore.
I was going to ask if the Quiznos, if that's the last two Quiznos on the island. Oh, sorry, in the country, because then is the one in the airport still open or that one closed too?
Really? Okay. Whatever. Well, Dunkin' Donuts is fast. Yeah. This person says here, concerns about traffic congestion. How many people do you think will spend $2 just to drive over the bridge to go there?
Once again, this is going to be servicing the people who are already there for some reason. All right. So either you work there or you live over there. And honestly, sometimes you just want a $5 burger, not a $30 burger.
Yeah.
And I don't like, if we can't live in a world where there are options, if you're only, and this isn't just a slight against the giant hotels, this is a slight against everybody. We have too many monopolies in this country, and they fight to maintain their monopolies. So it's like, you say something about this, they say, oh, no, you can't have that. That'll destroy everything. They don't want you to have options, all right? Anyway, I'm not, because I'll go on a rant, Dwight.
No, please don't do that.
And I'm trying to not go on a rant, but we
don't have time for that.
Based on how the place that we live, it is almost impossible to go. We deserve better everything. Better roads, better stores, better everything. All right? These stores are subpar. If we went to the States and we went to some of these stores, we'd walk out, we'd be like, why does the store look like this? But we don't have a choice because these are the only stores that are available, not even in our neighborhood, on the island. All of the locations are bad.
All right, let me read these quickly before we have to take a break. This person says Stephen doesn't understand why Atlantis is disheartened that the government's with government interviewing Atlantis employees. Perhaps Atlantis is disheartened because out of all the infinitely more contentious issues that both Atlantis and the government have faced over the years, this one could have been most easily resolved if there was even a real employee complaint. The government was simply engaging in an intimidation tactic. There was nothing in that Atlantis letter that would remotely compel anyone to take any particular course of action. How would Atlantis even enforce an independent under these circumstances? By reading employees' minds?
People have been threatened to be sued for less.
Please, Stephen.
I'm just saying, like, people read into all sorts of things.
Nah. That was really weird.
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not. You're free to believe that it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also saying that not everybody, the same way not everybody thinks like Steven, not everybody thinks like you and the texter. And so therefore, when you are on top, there's more weight for you.
I can't imagine.
You cannot.
I cannot imagine. What they
and that's fine.
And report the stupid manager if there really was. Report that idiot.
Right.
Report him and report him to everybody. Call his name, call her name, and say this one's been doing this, or this is foolish.
Not everybody is thinking the same way, and so while you're not threatened by something,
not everybody's thinking. Period. Yes.
Other people might be threatened by it.
Okay. Anyway, Dwight, any job you go on and someone says that on your job that will put you in fear. No. It just like you get a letter from the employer. No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
No, unless they got a different letter than what we all had in the paper. Unless they got something else, that was if you have concerns, you should say, right? But I mean, like, okay, my boss told me. Nah, please, no. This person says here we need cheaper food options on Paradise Island. Not everyone works at Atlantis,
right?
And a lot of their employees don't enjoy their cafeteria food. Dunkin' is the only affordable option, and it's okay. Yeah,
no, I'm saying like it's for other. It's not just for. It's not like they're trying to steal people away from the high end restaurants. They're literally like there are people who have to be there. So it's not going to be a bunch of people on the drive-through necessarily. It could be people who are on their lunch break or leaving.
Yeah,
or probably on their lunch break. And they're like, I would like something to eat, but I don't want to spend half of my weekly salary.
We get it. This person says, Stephen's talking nonsense. If RCI affects Atlantis revenue, all employees will be affected. Nothing wrong with rallying the troops to defend their livelihood. And then they go, but a numbers house is welcomed? Yeah, there is at least one there, right?
Who
a numbers house?
Who welcomed it?
I mean, they're saying that the fact that there's one there, that's odd.
Yeah. Because it doesn't affect. It's for the exact same reason why the tax is set. Because it is in competition.
Mm-hmm. Well, then
because behemoths can't gamble inside. Yeah. Because and tourists can't gamble in the number. So as far as they're concerned, whatever. Like we couldn't get them any know. Yeah. But that's the problem with what I was saying earlier. It's like if you only think about your bottom line, you stop thinking about how to make the people that work for you happier.
Yeah. Well, we know. I mean, there will be guests who like. I can't do this today. It's my last day. I only have a few dollars left. I'm going to go right over there.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
The food is cheaper.
If your guests have a better time because they bought a $5 burger once, that's not a bad thing. That's going to help you in the long run because they might come back. Mm-hmm. Right? As opposed to just being like, oh, well, I went to that hotel one time, but boy, it was very expensive. Let's look for someplace in Bali and avoid the entire country.
Yeah. This person says here, instead of pushing all these fast food places, I'd much rather want us to have a local company making homemade food, burgers, chicken, pizza. I'd be happy to support that. But it's so hard to open a business like this in this country.
Especially over there, right? You can't. Can you afford the rent? I don't know if that.
Yeah, boy. There's a whole lot more messages. We'll pick these up on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. G7 leaders, the leaders of the world's most powerful democracies, are promising to continue their support for Ukraine, saying Russia started the war there and can end it. They are meeting in Japan, and they visited a peace park in Hiroshima today.
World leaders visit a peace park dedicated to the tens of thousands who died in the world's first wartime atomic bomb detonation on August 6, 1945. Leaders, including President Joe Biden, gather in front of the Peace Park Memorial, lay wreaths, and participate in a symbolic tree planting ceremony. Holding the G7 in Hiroshima is an attempt by Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to promote an anti-nuclear message. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
There's word this morning that the official death toll in that powerful cyclone that hit Myanmar on Sunday is at least 145. I'm Rita Foley.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:20, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a weak pressure pattern across the area that's going to result in light to gentle winds today. And we also have a mid to upper level disturbance that's moving east across the Bahamas and a moist air mass along with daytime heating. All that's going to support showers and thunderstorms across the islands. There is also a risk of water spouts and funnel cloud activity, and the potential for some of the thunderstorms to be strong to severe at times. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny, very warm conditions, occasionally cloudy periods, widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Tonight should be warm and humid, with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms possible. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise today, getting up to around 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but it'll likely feel a lot hotter than that. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that exiting trough along with lingering moisture will continue to support shower activities and thunderstorms, actually, across the islands, while light to gentle winds will continue through the weekend. So for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny, warm with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms at night. Sunday, partly sunny and warm with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms at night. In the tropics, the official 2023 Atlantic hurricane season begins on June 1st and runs through November 30th, and the National Hurricane Center began issuing tropical weather outlooks for the already beginning the 15th of May. So far, tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 7 days. But you are being advised to make sure you have your hurricane preparations in place or at least underway. And we'll have more on that coming up a little later on the show. But that is your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And it's time for a look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. Discover mortgage ideas shaped around you. In your real-time traffic this morning, got a number of hot spots to tell you about. Miles Butler Highway, as usual. Heavy traffic from Fire Trail Road all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. That's between the roundabouts there. You'll see that in the northbound lanes this morning. Building traffic on Fire Trail eastbound to the roundabout and westbound on Tonic Williams Darling Highway to the roundabout. Gladstone Road looks like a much better alternate route for you. Around Munnings Road is where you'll see that heavy traffic heading northbound to JFK Drive this morning. Some building traffic on Carmichael Road, westbound to Coral Harbor Road, and Carmichael near the junction with Milo Butler Highway and Faith Avenue. And further south, Cowpen Road and Faith Avenue. Cowpen Road backed up there, eastbound to the intersection with Faith Avenue. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from about Carmichael straight up to Independence Drive, especially north of Soldier Road. Independence Drive backed up westbound. Soldier Road near Windsor Place, seeing some congestion, and then Soldier Road once you get north of Robinson Road on the way to Bernard Road, Wolf Road, and Village Road. Heavy traffic northbound there. Heavy traffic on Bernard Road heading toward that intersection westbound. And as we mentioned, Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail looking busy for you as well. Prince Charles Drive near the major intersections like Beatrice Avenue and Fox Hill Road and Elizabeth Estates. And Eastern Road from about Fox Hill up to Johnson Road, you're going to see that heavy traffic there. That's what we're looking at right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story to start your mortgage story today.
Everybody's idea of home is different, so every mortgage should be unique, shaped around you, flexible to move and change as you do. RBC will come to you to get you started and stay by your side to help guide you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story and start your story today.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at RBC Caribbean.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. Don't lie on your resume. Because if you say you've got trapeze experience, someone might shoot you out of a cannon and expect you to do a gymnast routine while flying through the air at 82 miles an hour. And just because you want to land on your feet doesn't mean you will. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Medical Insurance, so you get the best coverage for the price.
Get the best coverage for the price. CG Atlantic Medical and Life Insurance. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
The 6th edition of the Bahamas Games are on the way. July 7th through the 15th. Get ready for inter-island sporting competition in the spirit of unity and camaraderie. Which island is gonna win? It's the Bahamas Games. Our nation, our talent, our games. And look out for the B-Games crew coming to your island soon. For more information, call 809-1242 or visit thebahamasgames.org.
Shopping is so rewarding with my Fidelity credit card. I get the best prices with price protection. Earn and redeem freedom points at my favorite stores. Get cash back. Plus, I booked a cruise. Get your Fidelity credit card today. Call 356-7764.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
People, what you thinking? We want something different. People, what you wanting? We want local government. I can tell them no more slunking. We want to see it function. I can tell them no more joking. I forgot. Going down Blue Hill Road, going down Village Road, going down Nassau Road. We want local government. We want local government. It's the road. We want local government. Share the love. We want local government. We are called for local government.
Sign the petition and find out more information at risebahamas.net.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Everybody's idea of home is different, so every mortgage should be unique, shaped around you, flexible to move and change as you do. RB RBC will come to you to get you started and stay by your side to help guide you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story and start your story today.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at RBC Caribbean.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Sugar apple banana, choo-choo plum, girl, where you coming from? Cameron, South, and Green Billy, you must see, think we silly. You jump on the bike, go to the post office, jump off the bike.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you. Stephen had to leave us. He had to go to work, apparently. Hey, those fruits, you think you can find any of those on Paradise Island anywhere? I don't know. I don't think so. Hey, coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about a special event that is going to take us back in time. Next month, we'll get a preview of that leading up to the event in June. That's the name of it, Back in Time. It's going to be at Fort Charlotte. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Well, we got a lot more of your text messages in about the dispute over on Paradise Island with Atlantis and some of the other Paradise Island partners who don't think Wendy's or Marco's Pizza would fit into the aesthetics and the ethos of Paradise Island. Getting your reaction to this has been quite a bit of reaction on this on social media so far over the past few days. Want to hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or call us toll free, 242-300-5720. You can tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796. All right, let's get some more of your text messages in here. This person says here, okay, I don't know what that is. Why doesn't Atlantis just work with Wendy's? For every 50 combos from Wendy's, you get a day pass to Atlantis. Win-win. For every... Okay. You mean that's what the public would be required to buy? Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, we read this one about hoping to see more private Bahamian businesses over there, Bahamian franchises perhaps. This one says that while I can't stand these fast food chains and the proliferation of them, dining in restaurants is expensive, food is expensive, look at our grocery bills. I would love to see other authentically Bahamian eatery options like Tropical Gyros, Bamboo Shack, and the like for a more reasonable price. They're blocking Wendy's now. Toby Smith can't get a break. I don't understand how you mix the two of them up together. Texter, okay. Their cheapest burger is $10. I don't know who you're talking about. Who are we talking about there? Another one here. I've worked on Paradise Island for years. My biggest concern was the drive-through and traffic congestion, and it being by the only exit from Paradise Island. But on a side note, you need to come on Paradise Island on a Saturday night and see who would spend $2 to be over there. I can take a guess. Yeah, well, again, they say that it's not going to be a drive-through. So, yeah. This other texter says, Atlantis and the other hoteliers are right, and their objection is not unusual or out of order compared to similar objections in other communities worldwide. Why would the Department of Physical Planning approve that location, even for just pedestrian traffic? But we're upset about not having American fast food brands compete against Bahamian eateries. Okay. This one says here, Dwight, a fast food restaurant is already there. There's Dunkin' Donuts. Another one here. Dwight, have you ever reported an issue to the Department of Labor? Are you aware that you can cost your job because some are bought out too? What? Just so you know. Some serious allegations there, texter. Okay. Well, it is a person's civil and civic duty to protest, not my boss's place to tell me what to protest. And they also say children and guests don't always want heavy food late night. Sometimes people just want something quick before going to the airport, not waiting hours for room service. Yes. And a few more of your messages coming in. Again, continue to text us 422-4796 or call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or toll free 242-300-5720. This person says here tropical dryers would be nice there. And pedestrian traffic, a whole bank was there for decades. Not sure what they're getting at there, but okay. All right. Well, we're going to leave that there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into this event that we're going to tell you about, Back in Time. All the details coming up after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Coconut, choo-choo plum, girl, where you coming from? Carrot, sour, soft, and green billy. You must see, think we silly.
Almost there.
Sarge, that's you.
Well, who else?
Tell the truth. I thought a beige walrus was dying on the sidewalk.
I prepared for my 4x100-meter debut.
More like 1x1, because the other 99 killing you.
Funny. The Bahamas games come in July 7th to July 15th, and Grand Bahama gotta win this.
Well, you know that.
Email info@thebahamasgames.org or call 322-1029 for more information.
Which island is gonna win?
People, what you thinking? We want something different. People, what you wanting? We want. Get them no more slunking. We want to see it function. I get them no more joking. I forgot. Going down Blue Hill Road, going down Village Road, going down Nassau Road. We want local government. We want local government. Pick the road. We want local government. Share the love. We want local government. We got call for local government.
Sign the petition and find out more information at risebahamas.net.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
KB, you want some peas and rice? KB, you want some peas and rice?
No! How we on now? No! One day I need
waves from out the deep blue sea. You remember when we used to go out on the rocks to look for Wilson curves, picking jelly coconuts high up in the tree. We had a lot of nerve. Man, do you remember when we used to go crabbing at night with them homemade toys? Rambling through the bush, sometime you buck your toe or you get stung with wasp. But you put the crab in the cocoa sack and close it up quick. Tomorrow night for supper we'll be having crab and grits. Do you remember? Yes, I remember, yeah. Do you remember how?
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you, and just in time as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of our independence. A special event next month is going to take us back in time. Here to tell us all about that, we're very pleased to welcome back to the show Kendrick Roll, and from our sister station Star, we've got Sawyer Boy with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Morning.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Back in time, as Kendrick, as you know, we're often nostalgic on this program, remembering how things used to be. But this is a great time to do that, right? 50 years for an independent Bahamas. Let's talk about this. How this came about and what it is you're hoping to accomplish next month.
Okay, well, it was just an idea that popped in my head after a discussion with a number of persons. We were just reminiscing. And on top of it, it was a discussion as we were planning to do the 2023 eyeball. And it sounds ironic because we all have an eyeball in our head. And we were planning to host something called the eyeball.
Wow.
In order to raise funds to assist with children on the Family Islands who need glasses and eye care services and stuff like that. And so as we prepare for the eyeball, we needed a fundraising event. So we looked at the 50th anniversary. And we said, we just want to look at how life was 50 years ago and compare to what it is today. And we started thinking about all the things we used to do, how we used to make our toys rather than going to shop and buying toys, and all the games we used to play, and the fun we used to have, and the music we used to enjoy, and the fashion, everything. And we thought it would be a good idea to kind of bring back those stuff, to take persons back to their youthful days, as well as to show the new generation just how life was and socializing and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you said a lot there. We'll get back to the eyeball in a bit. Yeah. Let's talk about this. Looking back, I mean, what really has changed? You mentioned some of the things that we're much more consumer driven now, as opposed to being using our ingenuity. And what do you think is lost as a result of that? How do you think that has changed us, especially the young folks coming up? And sorry, boy, you can jump in on that as well.
Socialization and interaction. We have become a selfish people.
Wow.
Our children don't even think. I mean, they don't even talk. I would call my daughter or my son on the phone. They would never answer. But if I send a text, they respond within seconds.
My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's new parenting. That's the new parenting right now. Because most of my real discussions I have with my kids is usually through our WhatsApp group would be in. Like, we really get the point across. But things change.
Oh, you have a WhatsApp group with your own kids?
Yeah, I got WhatsApp group with my two oldest. I mean, they man and woman. So I mean, I got to send in the bills versus bills. So I'm sure I guess it's forwarded straight to them.
Right. Yeah, we had a guest last week who said that that's the only way that in their own house, some parents, some of their clients are talking to their kids by sending WhatsApp messages.
You in your bedroom, and they in their own. Before you call them and talk to them, you just send them a message.
Yeah. Bring me something to drink. That's different now. You take you out to the room and then send you to the kitchen, but you could just text them a message and tell them what you want before they even come to the room. They can just go in the fridge, bring me something to drink, and then bring it inside the room. But knock first before you come so I can know.
My goodness. And Kendrick, you said it. We're a selfish people now. We are. So can we go back? Can we bring back some of this stuff? Do we really want to? What are we going to do?
I don't know. We can show them and open them. Because I mean, even looking like playing games. Today's people are on the internet playing games. People they don't even know. Mm-hmm. I told my daughter I used to play 4 squares. She don't know what 4 squares is.
No, they don't know.
They know.
They don't know. Yes, but for at least one day we could take it back in time. So if we can't bring it back for good, at least for one day, people will know exactly what it was and how things used to be before you wanted to be inside your room. I remember I used to get raw and beaten for not being inside the house. Just either you stay in or you stay out. And we used to choose out. Mm-hmm. You get that one. It's either you're inside or you're outside. Pick one. Usually outside would be it. Right now, but like I lied, like for 2 months I saw my son, but he right inside the room. Wow. And that's how it's been for like 2 months. I don't see him. He opened it. If we miss and open up the door at the same time, we both stop with each other because we both forget that we was inside the house. So it's different, but we try to do some things, man. I kind of feel good because I ride through one corner the other day and I saw someone had a basketball rim on the lamp pole and that bring me all the way back. And I was like, wait, I ain't see this. And yes, it was a crate rim too. This wasn't even no regular rim. This was a crate rim. I was like, somebody, daddy or granddaddy built that. Daddy didn't know the little person who built that. So we try to take you back to times when you could have just used what the elements of outside. You find one tennis ball, the things what you could have do with one tennis ball back in the day would last you for 3 days.
Oh yeah.
3 days you could play, even if you was a single child, even if you was the only child in the house. Your only thing was, if you get a tennis ball, you just go outside and you use the roof or the wall to help your brother or sister. You throw it up on the roof and you pretend or act or try to figure out which way it coming and you make it happen. It'll be one tennis ball. Yeah, you come home, you sweaty, you dirty, and when we trying to figure out what happened to you, well, I guess it's playing. Who and you? Just me and the tennis ball. That's all.
Wow.
Our tennis ball was Wilson before Wilson was Wilson.
It was like gold.
We used to play jocks, porking, bottom ball, 4 squares, squash, everything.
Yeah, man. We want the women to come who used to be jock princesses. They said who. When you see them play jocks, you be like, mother, who teach you how to do that? How you pick up all them one time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're trying to get people back. Even if being the kids is for the adults too, man. Just to kind of get you to relax. Don't worry about the bills and don't worry about all the things that stressing you out too much. Come out and have some good, clean fun. And plus bring the kids too so they could, kind of see what life was like before it was, I guess, this easy.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. All right, so let's break it down. Tell us what we can expect exactly on June 17th with Back in Time.
Well, we have a time zone gallery. We celebrating fashion, food, folks, fun, and of course Bahamian culture. We have a time zone gallery looking at all the stuff we used to do. We have a section with stuff from the 70s, fashion, food, folks. We have a section for the 80s, a section for the 90s. We have photo galleries of people, famous people, especially Bahamian people, musicians, and stuff like that. We have right now on Facebook, we have a vintage scavenger hunt going on. We're looking for a lot of things, rotary telephones. Dwight, if you can still find your beeper.
Wow, I haven't thought about that in a while. Yeah,
I got a Walkman inside my drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a brick cell phone still home.
Wow, I never had a brick cell phone in my life. You had money before we had money, because when you have a brick cell phone, that means you have money.
No, the people who had the money leave it hanging around and they pick it up.
Wow. All right. So if you have these things, what do you do with them?
We have a place called the Balloon Bar. It's next to Christian and Johnny. Those who don't know what is Christian and Johnny is, what is Christian and Johnny now?
That's a number place now.
Oh yeah, I think it is. Almost everything that used to be something is a numbers house now. Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Either number house or it's a full-time school. Because I have 2 old apartments I used to live in, Boy, they schools now. You see children graduate from them. I didn't know how they do that. That's only a one bedroom. I ain't know how they fit all them children in there.
Yeah. Also, you do take those things back. What do you do if you do find the stuff for the scavenger hunt? How does it work?
Okay, if you have the stuff, well, first you have to go online and look for Vintage Vibes 242 on Facebook. And if you got the stuff, you hit us up. We tell you where to bring it, and then you enter because we're going to be giving away prizes at the Back in Time event for old stuff. Like somebody hit me up, tell me they have a floor model TV. I don't know where that must be in the garage somewhere, but we want we're looking for a floor model TV.
That's at least 900 pounds.
Do you get extra points if it still works?
Well, we still working out the logistics, but first of all, we want to know if you have these things. I still looking for a Bachman machine. One guy tell me he still have an Atari. So if he could get that Atari to me, it would be that working. It'll be awesome.
Hey, do you know it's how serious it is? I saw a video this week where the question was they went up to some younger people and was asking them to tell the time on this digital clock. People was looking at this digital wall clock and asking, what is that?
Oh wow!
And these are grown kids like 19, 20, and they do not know what a digital clock is. They cannot tell the time on the digital clock. So I know we might have to bring back a digital clock just because when time is changing, they don't know what that is.
That is crazy.
Hold on, I show a kid a 45 record the other day. You know.
At least you know what the frisbee is.
Right.
At least,
yeah.
But it could be a really, really good night, man. We're trying to just get people to come out to have a good time, and like you say, we celebrating just early celebrations leading into 50-year celebration of the Bahamian independence. So it's good music. You know, the music that we used to listening to from, like you say, from the 80s, 90s,
we going back to
70s. Yeah, man. Just
because our guy Pat Raming, he's coming out of retirement. You know, he went into retirement, but now he's having some issues, and we're going to interview him over the next several weeks. He's having some eye issues, so he's really in full support of the eyeball, and he's coming out of retirement. So we trying to do. I'm sorry, we have to do our Baintown Woman competition because that was.
Listen, I am done.
What is that about? Tell us what that is about. What's that going to be about?
Well, Pat Raming sang about the Baintown woman back in 1973. So we can see if there's a real, authentic Baintown woman still around, not these Baintown women.
Okay. All right. So you got a whole lot of big names scheduled to perform as well. What can you tell us about that?
Pat Raming and Freddie Money Jr., they are icons for more than 50 years. And then Iris Starr, I was too surprised to know that Iris Starr was one of the original band members with Ronnie Butler. You know, Ronnie Butler go way back.
Yeah.
And then Gino D, keep the Gino D is our icon too, and stuff like that. And then of course we come into the 50. We're still looking at life from back then today, so we're still highlighting people like Shine and Ebony and a couple of others who are going to be coming on. I buck into MC Sky the other day. Remember, he sang a song called Bahamas Gone Funky way back in the day. I didn't even think he remembered his song. That was his only hit, so you have to remember it. So we're going to bring MC Sky out of retirement. And some other guy, we're talking to Ty Love and stuff like that, musicians over the past 50 years. And then we're going to, like I say, in the photo gallery, we're going to have people like King Eric and Walla, who is putting that gallery together for us. And it's going to just be a whole lot of, we have the fashion squad mob. They're going to be doing a vintage fashion show for the 50 years. And we're also looking at doing a cultural segment of it. You know, there are really two. Well, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but there are two main Junkanoo groups who have been around for more than 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
The Titans. So we're still in discussions to see how we're going to incorporate them into the project. Because, I mean, that on its own is an event, but we're going to try and incorporate them into the project. We're going to highlight the King of Junkanoo, who I named the King of Junkanoo for 50 years, Mr. Bola Francis. He and I had a conversation. And so we're just going to be doing everything to highlight foods, fashion, folks, and fun and Bahamian culture over the past 50 years and bring it to date and just integrate everything and make a good, fun evening. That'll be Jones at the Fort Charlotte.
Yeah. Because we get DJ Fines, we get Dion the Butcher. So we still got DJs too who been holding it down for a very long time.
Yeah, and they have to play on records, so they can't be these guys who playing from computer nowadays. They have to play their records and that's
wow.
Scratching.
This is going to be great.
Because when you talk about DJs, I got to go all the way back. When you like in my school dance, when I used to go to D, before the music even started, all you hear is Scooby do. The DJs listen toot. So we shouting out everybody. We shouting at everybody who really kind of started off and really put us to the point where we are right now. Because it had to start somewhere. So this back in time is just kind of really showing people where it all started before it got to where it is right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a real throwback.
And it's the day before Father's Day, too. So we can't forget that we're bringing in Father's Day back in time. So, they ain't doing nothing for us on Sunday. So this will be it.
Yeah.
This the Father's Day party as well. So we can look at it like that as well. This is a Father's Day party. So come on out and, have a good time with us, man. See if you can still do those. See if you can still do hopscotch. See if you can still play four squares. I know some people who really was good at four square. Shout out Fox down the TN Challenge back in the day. That's the first place I think I ever played four squares back in the day. So, yeah, man, it could be a really, really good night. Good music. I could be hosting it, so we could be true. And we go get little prizes and little things to do to, make it even better.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of...
Playing marbles, spinning top. I just got 2 scooters made, and I getting 2 more made. We got a scooter race. I mean, a real scooter. Don't tell Super Value I stole some trolleys to get them.
Don't say it. All right, so we got a whole lot of text messages. People being very nostalgic. We got some calls coming in as well. Before we get to that call, just one more time. You mentioned the eyeball that's going to be later in the year, but the money that you raise from back in time is going to go towards this. Tell us about how important that eyeball is going to be.
The eyeball event, like I say, we have the Bahamas Society of Ophthalmic Nurses, along with the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and of course, my entity, the Bahamas Coalition of Advocates for Disability Awareness and Service. We recognize that children on the Family Island, they don't, for whatever reason, they have eye issues and it's unattended. So the nurses have to go down there, test children, assess their needs, and then we have to provide eyewear for them. So that is one of the purposes of the eyeball, as well as some may need surgeries. We need to bring them in and be able to house them and assist them in getting their surgeries. And then, of course, we want to recognize leaders, profession, as well as persons like Guardian Talk Radio, we awarded last year, who support disability and persons who are blind and visually impaired. And also we want to recognize persons who are blind and visually impaired who are making a positive contribution to society. So that is going to be on October the 28th this year. And it's a black tie affair. And the eyeball is just going to be awesome. And it's going to be done with a great positive initiative behind it. So we'll not only be celebrating, but we're going to be raising funds to help those who are definitely in need.
Sounds wonderful. Wow. Let's take this call, and then we want to get to some of these text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, Sparky. I was listening in. Talking about your gas and talking about the wool out there, too. Now, I heard a gentleman there mentioning about 50 years. Today, this year, makes 65 years from 1958 that the Valley Boys has been out there. So you can't forget Gus Cooper in your memories. You understand? That's what I end up talking about Father's Day and everything. Back in 2000. Hello?
Yeah, they definitely haven't forgotten the Valley Boys, of course.
Back in, I'm talking about 65. I didn't say 50.
Like I said, it's going to be a
65 years. This year makes 65 years.
Mm-hmm.
But now let me talk about Father's Day. Back in 2000, myself and the Pigs and Dr. Hoff and Barry Saw and a lot of us down in the valley, we did something on the Western Fort called Kites and Gadgets, where we invited all the children from the nation, and we had jitneys or omnibuses that went pick up children from the special schools. And for 3 years in a row, we did Kites and Gadgets on the Western Fort, Port Charlotte. And what we did, we brought all the children up. Hello?
That's what Uncle Barry Sawyer do.
Barry Sawyer.
Yeah.
Me and Barry and Dr. Hall got the idea together. And we got the omnibuses that they gave us free. They went around to all the special schools around Pilium and everything. They brought the children out and they dropped them back home safe. We did all the old games, and that's why we put the fathers, and we told the fathers to teach your sons how to make kites. That's why I came in kites and gadgets. We did all the marbles, shooting marbles, hula hoop, jackstrap, and hopscotch. And we had boxcar race from up on Dean's Lane by the hospital on top of the hill. And the boxcar had the race come down, a little quick race. With fathers and sons and boxcars, we made all of those old gadgets that when we grew up, the things we used to do when we were playing, that they don't do now and you don't see now. Because you can't do nothing on the streets no more.
Yeah,
too much traffic.
Yeah.
So we took it up there, and we did that 3 years in a row with sponsors like Baltimore County Kitchen, AZ Pritchard. They donated everything to the children. Every child was given a bag of popcorn, a bag of peanuts. Coca-Cola was up there, free sodas, free water. They was given. Then we had the kite flying contest. The biggest kite, the smallest kite, the ugliest kite, the prettiest kite, and the kite that went out the furthest. Everybody is presented with trophies. We did that year, and we've been trying to get that done again, where fathers and children could get together and have a big bash, and every child in the country that comes out there is given something freely. And then we topped it off by closing out the event with Junkanoo Rush. We did that 3 years ago, 2000, 2001, 2003.
Well, it sounds like this might be a great way to get it back through this. Sparky, thank you so much. Somebody else asking about that as well. Are you all doing kite flying and spinning top and shooting marble? And they're saying I will try to build a scooter box cart and come out on that day. Okay, so look at that.
Man. We get all that going on. All that will be out there. Like we asking people with their expertise to come. And even if you know you can make kite really, really good. And I think we get some people on board who could be showing you, how to do it and what the things to use. Like, you tear a piece of paper out your book, you use some coconut branches and you get the stems from that, and then you turn that into what it is, and you get a kite. So we'll be teaching all that, and just kind of spread the word.
Wow.
A vintage playground with vintage toys and games.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. This person says here, I told my brother at a family gathering that we need to do these same things that you all are talking about, spinning top, marbles, scooters, slingshots, and building kites from scratch. We made our toys, but the kids today don't know anything about that. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what and even though we're doing this, like that don't mean that you shouldn't still do your thing on the side. Still show someone how to spin top, because I ain't gonna lie, Dwight. I never spin a top. I never could get it right.
I struggled with that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I could never really get it right. I could do everything, but spin top, I lose. It make no sense me buying it.
You know how to use a yo-yo?
Definitely.
I'll do two. It come up once and twice, and that's it. You're not really happening no more.
But some of those guys were experts at that, though. That was unbelievable.
And we still have them here now. We still have them who still get them skills, and who still with what do you call it? Split your top. Watch your top.
Right.
They would split your top. Watch your top spinning.
Wow.
Yeah, you playing there again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So
This-
we get all of that coming back. We get all that going on. So even if you just want be in the surroundings, or just be around where you hearing this music and you seeing people enjoying these good vibes and ain't much phones, even though you have your phone out there, but you put your phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
Put your phone in your pocket. Let's enjoy ourselves.
No phones on. No phones on.
Yeah.
No phones on. Yeah, man.
This person says, "Sorry, boy. We have digital clocks. People know. What do you mean by that? It's analog clocks that we can't tell time on."
I slow. That's what I mean. I meant analog clock. The one will get the numbers on it.
Right. Oh, okay.
What you call it? Analog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, okay. This person says, I still have its video machine. No way.
You need that to display. We could take it by the balloon bar. I think she's on with us.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, okay.
That's one of our persons who is on the committee who's helping to plan the event. That's Danielle Miller. She's the owner of the Balloon Bar. It's next to, like you say, I know it as Christian and Johnny, but that's a different direction. You can take
on Cotto Avenue.
On Cotto.
All right, welcome, Danielle. Welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Couple more messages here. Ask your guests. This sounds like an agent. I don't know if you would consider these artists performing as well. Okay, Papa Smurf, Dro Capone, Avi, Daddy, Troy, Ebony 242, and DJs like One Dwight. You remember One Dwight, Gummy Bear of the Scooby Doo crew, and Yellow and Butch.
Yeah, man, we get some of them names for sure.
Butcher will be there. Butcher will be there. I could reach out to One Dwight.
Ebony 242.
Ebony is already.
Yeah, she's already there.
Yeah. I forget about Papa Smurf.
We get Fred. He right in Freeport. He right in Freeport, still holding the down now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bob has to sponsor us a ticket because we trying to raise funds. We ain't trying to spend too much. So
yeah, man. Papa Smurf performing next week.
Sponsor a ticket to bring us, so it'll be good. But for further information and to give us more ideas and get more links, you got to call 804-1773, or you could find us on Facebook at Vintage Vibes 242, and just make still working on the final details, but we just wanted to get the info out there so people could know. And over the next several weeks, Dwight, Guardian Talk is sponsoring the event, so we'll be bringing out more info and different segments and aspects of what we're going to be presenting on the 17th of June.
Right. All right. So you got a month to get ready for this. Again, it's going to be at Fort Charlotte, the Moat, back in time. Over the next few weeks, you'll learn more about it and pricing and all that stuff. But we're just whetting your appetite now for this. June 17th, back in time. Coming up, and I want to thank you all for being here with us this morning. Sawyer Boy, Kendrick Roll, and Danielle Miller, and we're looking forward to this big event, taking us back in time to a simpler time. Wonderful time here for us growing up in the Bahamas over these 50 years, and looking forward to it again, June 17th. Thank you so much.
Right. Yep, you're welcome.
All right,
see you later.
We're gonna break for news and be back with Morning Blend Business. Stay with us.
And curves, picking jelly coconuts high up in the tree. We had a lot of nerve. Man, do you remember when we used to go grab toys, rambling through the bush? Sometime your pocket to all
This
you get.
is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, May 19th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, and this morning it's part 2 of our special month-long Safe and Sound series looking at hurricane preparedness. And this morning we are looking at hurricane readiness from a maritime port safety perspective. Guiding us through this, we're very pleased to have back with us our partner in our Safe and Sound series, Kamal Nuri, with preventative measures. And we have a special guest in studio, Captain Glenn Bain. Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Great to have you with us. Good morning. Let's get your mics up there.
Good morning.
There we go.
Pleasant
good morning.
Great
Good to
morning.
be here.
All right, so let's break this down. Hurricane readiness from a maritime port safety perspective. Yeah.
Well, you know, Dwight, the Bahamas, we are an archipelago, and we have multiple seaports, and we have thousands of mariners, boaters who are out there. And so what we wanted to discuss from that perspective, because they are also business owners in their own right, and we wanted to highlight what their needs and what their concerns may be during this hurricane season. And preventative measures, we have a vast network of partners that we work with, and we're pleasant to have with us a long time soldier in the trenches, Captain Glenn Blaine, who is a international expert as it pertains to maritime safety and security. So I'm not gonna prolong that. I'm gonna let Glenn jump in because he is the expert, the content matter expert for this area, and Glenn can start to just lead us along in this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kamal, and good morning, Bahamas.
Great to have you with us.
Indeed, a pleasure.
So we have a lot of questions, a lot to talk to you about. All right. So just in general, does something special happen before the hurricane season at these many ports in the country, or are we just coasting, cruising?
No, a lot of things happen, particularly the international port facilities, because we have oil facilities, we have cruise ship facilities, we have bulk cargo, we have generally a lot of different type facilities, and they really have to go through a lot to secure their facility. If you think about the Grand Bahama Shipyard, for example, they have ships actually on dock that are not going to leave because they have pieces out of the ship, so they can't leave.
Wow.
So they'll have to secure those inside the docks. If you would have gone to Freeport shortly after Hurricane Dorian, you would have seen a lot of devastation to port facilities. Well, I mean, we could talk about the most outstanding one, which was South Riding Point. It was devastating.
Yeah.
But you have also a lot of yachters. If you went through certain areas of Freeport, you had boats in the middle of the street sitting on its keel. Because, as the saying goes, a floating tide or a rising tide float all boats.
Yeah.
And it doesn't only float them, because with the hurricane comes surge. That surge can be 10, 15, 20, according to the strength of the hurricane. And when you tie up a vessel, whether it be large or small, it is not tied up in a way to secure that vessel when a ship is moved up about 20 or 30 feet in the air.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't meant for that.
No, because the lines will slip over.
Right.
It's really designed for the ship to stay almost on, it'll go up about 3 feet the most, because our tidal range is only about 3 feet from high to low. So it's designed to hold a ship within that range. So when it goes beyond that 3 feet up to 10 feet or 15 feet, then that line can readily slip over, because the ship itself, if the ship, imagine the ship keel is in the water only about 7 or 8 feet. And for a larger ship, it could be 18, 20 feet. So if the tide, it actually brings the keel over the dock.
Yeah.
So the boat is no longer, it can float around.
Yeah.
And once that happens...
People say that all the time. Why is this boat here in the middle of this highway? Clearly this wasn't secured, but that's not the case.
That's the surge that took the boat up from where it was.
Yeah.
And when the surge went away, the boat just stayed wherever the surge left it.
Wow.
Yeah. So preparing for a hurricane is for large port facilities with large ships, they are always advised to leave the harbor.
Right.
Because ships can move. They can avoid hurricanes based on movement. The port can't move. And you don't want to know that hurricane came with a big ship in there, and that ship actually, the hurricane was so bad that ship actually came out of the port and went into, because it can do, it's a big mess altogether. I mean, from an insurance perspective, from a liability perspective.
Dangerous.
Especially if people were on board the ship when it happened.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. And securing the port facility itself.
What sort of things have to happen?
Well, you got to make sure that, first of all, all your people are going to leave. Because, hurricanes could do anything. It take roof off, it can throw things around. So you want to secure or batten. It's just like you battening down your house. They batten down their facility, the structures. Any moving debris, anything they can secure, everybody get together, they do that and lock everything in. And that's the way you really prepare a port facility. for an incoming or oncoming hurricane.
So that should be happening now, testing it now, drills now, or do you wait until, as they say, a storm is traveling?
You wait until you get that warning, that hurricane warning. Of course, the projections for hurricanes now are far more accurate than they used to be in the past. So once you get that warning and it becomes imminent, then of course, you get a date. That's in the case where you have warnings now, because if you think about what happened to Abaco with Dorian, they didn't have much time to, or even Joaquin. When Joaquin went into Crooked Island and Long Island,
did a little turn.
They didn't even get any warning, because that came out of nowhere. It ain't like that came from the coast of Africa and worked its way up right off Crooked Island, and bang, that was it. So sometimes you get warning, sometimes you don't. If you get ample warning, of course, you can do ample preparation as much as you could. Again, when you think about in terms of South Riding Point, where a hurricane sat for a day and a half and just kept turning, and actually took the top off tanks, that man can do that. You can't prepare for that.
Right.
So that's as far as preparation, you do as much as you can,
right? And
then you get out, you clear away.
Well, you mentioned it. The big boats are encouraged, the ships encouraged to sail out. What about individuals? What can they do? What should they do? I mean, that's a lot.
Well, the first thing you want to do as an individual is you want to, if you're at a port facility, and port facilities generally, they just clear out. They don't be at that facility. In some extreme cases, they may leave 1 or 2 security in place, but they would find a soundless structure so that person could be secured. And it seemed to work sometimes, but a lot of facilities, they just don't even want that person there. They don't want anybody there.
Right.
And they just batten it down, lock the gates, and everybody's gone until the hurricane passes over.
So what should you do with your vessel? You don't have...
Well, if
the
your vessel is
resources
capable,
like a big ship to sail somewhere else.
Yeah, if your vessel is capable of sailing, of course you sailed. If it's not capable of sailing, they got what you call hurricane moorings. Now, a hurricane mooring, we don't generally have in the Bahamas, but we should have in the Bahamas. Because a ship going on a hurricane mooring, as that surge rises, the ship has extra road or extra line out. So it wouldn't be any problem, because the ship would normally, bow of the ship would normally go into the wind, and the wind just keep blowing. And so long as that hurricane mooring is holding and that ship is safe, once it have a turning swing that it doesn't come into contact with anything else.
Why don't we have these?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, we don't have them because quite frankly, I'm preparing to that extent for hurricanes. I mean, if you have a yacht, for example, you figure once you secure your yacht, it's going to remain. But after we seen what happens, this ain't something new to me, because back in whatever year it was when they had I think it was Andrew that hit Eleuthera.
Right.
I was the captain of one of the Defense Force vessels, the Yellow Elder. We were sent there in the aftermath, and going into the harbor at not Gregory Town, that would be Hatchet Bay. When you get in the harbor, you look to the right and you see heaps and heaps of sailboats tumbled over each other. And that's the first time, that's when I realized what the impact really was. And so from way back then, I knew that you can think your vessel is secure, but if you have a big surge, it's really not.
Yeah.
So you need that hurricane mooring and you need that swinging circle.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I mean, we've had so many hurricanes since Andrew, and we're still not there yet.
And the last hurricane we had, Matthew, I think it was, there were 2 barges that were moored off Montague Bay area, and they break away from the hurricane mooring set up with proper road and everything.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, they wouldn't break away. So we really should be, not only from an insurance perspective, but a safety perspective, look into providing hurricane mooring. Something like this can happen from the Port Authority Board. They can approve people to put hurricane moorings in certain parts of the harbor, so that on a regular basis, those moorings can still be used for a fee. But when hurricane comes, they can be designated to certain, whether it's government vessels, because Port of Ski is always full of mailboats when hurricanes come in.
Yeah.
They basically ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And until the mindset has shifted to say that these mail boats are hazards if a hurricane comes.
Right.
We need you to clear. All of you need to sail. And who can't sail, we need to get you to a hurricane mooring.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
that's where we need to go.
Because even with tropical storms, you'll see it right after here in Nassau, where you'll see the boats overturn in the harbor, and they'll be there for weeks.
Right.
And like, well, why is this? And I've not even heard anybody talk like this before about hurricane moorings.
Yeah, that's interesting that it's not something mandated. Because again, going back to a Porter-Ski, where those vessels are the lifeline for many of the family islands.
That's right.
And
they're
you
just
said,
sitting ducks.
It's an interesting perspective in that regard. So how expensive or the technical or the engineering required to build a mooring? And this again, this is a novice asking. What makes it so difficult to have these a bit more in abundance or developed here?
No, it's not very. It's not. Well, you will make more money from leasing or renting that mooring, because even when a hurricane is not coming, you can rent it out.
Right.
There's a couple of things can happen. The government could put them in place and lease them out as needed, or a private company can get together and make application to the Port Authority Board because the Port Authority Board is responsible for moorings being laid in the harbor and all the rest of that. And they would be there, and mail boats could probably pay a minimum amount to keep them maintained, and whenever they need them, they would be there for the mail boats. Because if I own a mail boat, I wouldn't want to see my boat damaged or destroyed, where I got to go and get insurance. And like you say, the family islands will be out of supplies for so long because a couple mail boats got mashed up. So the precautionary measure would be to have those moorings in place. You can have a minimum amount being paid on a monthly basis, because tugboats in harbor, for example.
Right.
Those cruise ships pay for those tugboats whether they use them or not. Because if they need them, who's going to be paying for them to be available?
Right.
So right now they're actually paying a fix toward upkeep and maintenance of those two tugboats. So
All right. So I don't know much about this at all. I'm Googling it to see what they look like. Describe them to people, what we're talking about here.
Well, they got different techniques. They can use what they call a mushroom type anchor. That obviously once it starts to drag, it's like an umbrella. It will kind of catch onto something and hold. But what they do is they put a peg in the ground in the seabed, right? And in some places, the technology for that now is they would drill a hole down to about 40 or 50 feet in the seabed until they hit really solid rock. And I don't know if you'll find that on Google right now, but then they would place a weight, like a cylindrical weight, and they would put that in with a chain attached to it, and then they would pack it with that really high intensity concrete. So when they do that, and that's not going to move.
Yeah, even with the storm surge?
The storm surge, the thing is, it depends on the length of the road. The road should be one boat length. So if you have a 200-foot boat, the road should be 200 feet. And then beyond that 200 feet, you will have the part that comes out of the water and goes to the ship. It should be 1.5 times the ship length. So you're really looking at 2.5 times the ship length for the road. And once it's that long, and you have a safe swinging circle, because now you remember the vessel is attached to that mooring, and according to where the wind is coming from, the vessel moves. And so once it can only swing based on the radius of that anchored component.
Yeah.
So it needs a full swinging circle so that it don't. Because if you have more than one vessels nearby each other,
right.
They can end up crashing into each other.
This is bizarre that we don't do this.
Yeah, it is. It is,
and
it's a lot of things in this country we don't do. We need to get to doing, especially from a preventative perspective.
I'm sure.
And it's interesting as you talk about the technical aspect of this, but even to a more basic functionality. The commercial boats, they don't even sail out. I mean, if you know that a storm is coming, you have ample warning. If you do, you have an opportunity to take that boat out of harm's way And so that doesn't even happen in many instances.
It doesn't happen because I don't know if anybody in the authorities are demanding that it happen. First of all, we need to educate boat owners. And I'm sure we have people in the port department, definitely in the Maritime Authority, who understands all of what I'm talking about. To take that step now to educate the general public, particularly the male boat owners, because they can understand. Some of them has had encounters with hurricanes. They know what it can do. And if you give them that option, I'm sure it's one or two. Either you sail or you have a hurricane mooring provided that you can use in the event of a hurricane.
Right.
And it's at this stage, when the hurricane is not coming, that they need to start engaging these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so because the demand could be made on male boats and any other boat one, I guess, because these docking facilities are government owned, so they can essentially close and make that. I'm just trying to understand making that demand on that owner is because you're docking at my facility, not your facility.
Yeah, that's the Forest Key dock is controlled by the port department, and they have the authority to make. Well, of course, if you don't engage these people in advance, it'll be very difficult. And I think Dwight mentioned drills.
Right.
You can actually engage drills doing these things, but of course, legislation should be updated to provide that these things can be enforced.
It's done at the cruise port. This is because there are no boats.
Well, no cruise ship is going to even want to be in port because they understand it better than we would.
Right.
Right. They wouldn't want to be in no port if a hurricane is coming.
Right.
Because they know that that's going to be a big liability.
Right. Definitely. Wow. Yeah. We're having a great conversation with Captain Glenn Bain and Gamal Nouri talking about hurricane readiness for a maritime port, from a maritime port safety perspective. Give us a call if you want to join the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or call us toll free, 242-300-5720. You can text us 422-4796 and tweet us at morningblend 969. All right, so what are some other things that you think people need to be paying attention to that perhaps we don't do enough of here during this time of year?
Well, I mean, generally, there's only so much you could do in preparation. Now the aftermath is, I would recommend that what we do with the aftermath is we have our maritime entity, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, kick in with vessels that can move in after the hurricane. Now, because most of their vessels got to sail as well, because they don't want to get caught up in the hurricane either.
Yeah.
They would have supply, working in conjunction with NEMA, of course, because NEMA would normally have a ready supply that can be available, because once an island is hit, even if they come and help us. So if you don't already have about 4 or 5 Defense Force vessels out there loaded with victuals, loaded with rations, loaded with water and ice makers, tents, because you see what happened with Dorian. I mean, you go to Abaco after Dorian, people didn't have no place with a cover. They all needed tents, they all needed water, they all needed rations.
Yeah.
These things were not readily available, but they could have been. And in future, we can make sure that they are.
Yeah.
So long as we have the unison between NEMA and the Defense Force to ensure that we do have 3 vessels already out there.
Yeah.
They are ready to move in the aftermath, pitch tents, because Defense Force can do these things. I mean, they go in the bush for weeks.
Yeah.
You pitch tents, you have your rations, and people can readily be tended to, and then you have your medics. And you can do that with any place in the Bahamas where a hurricane went through.
Yeah. It's so disturbing. From Joaquin, when we had a lot of inland flooding and we couldn't reach people for days because the water was so high, only the biggest trucks could get through.
That's right.
After a couple of days, the need for airboats like what they have in the Everglades, at least 1 or 2 that we can get to these islands to get people out of these flood zones. But we've made no progress on that.
Yeah, you remember in the case of Dorian, there were a lot of jet skis, which can serve the purpose of an airboat, except that they don't have anything to,
Right, it can't hold too many
they can
people.
do so much.
Yeah.
And they could go in places where a traditional vessel would not go. But yeah, these things can be, again, sought between NEMA and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and they can be taken to those areas just like the rations and tents and everything else.
But yeah, always talk, but the action
doesn't occur.
It takes years before any movement.
And you again, NEMA, there's the various government representatives or law enforcement and utility providers already sitting on that board, right? So these things you would think via some type of risk assessment, some type of analysis, impact study, we would think that these things are already in play. But the individual or the private port owner, how do they do make preparations? How do they now mitigate the threat against them? Seeing that they're not government, but they now have these options available to them.
Well, as I said, the port owners would basically evacuate.
Right.
There will be nobody there when this hurricane comes. So after the hurricane, they can have physical damage to structures, but it wouldn't be any loss of life or anybody got injured, anybody who need assistance. And once a hurricane passes, it's normally, calm for a while. Come back, do the assessment, everybody see what they need to do. But as far as people being impacted in settlements, I mean, to evacuate a settlement is not likely. I've never seen that happen.
Okay.
So some people will be impacted when that hurricane lands and passes.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Caller, all right, let's take the other call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Caller, it is Strachan along with you and your guest.
Hi.
Dwight. We need justice, law on the Bahamas here. But what I want to ask the captain, two questions. If you have a boat with mast on the mooring, right? Do they have to take their mast down?
Yeah, Bremen.
My first question.
Good morning, Bremen. Very good question.
Good morning.
If you have a sailboat, a lot of sailboats can actually be angled to become horizontal, a lot of masts. So I think in most cases they would be able to do that. Now, if you have a sailboat with a fixed mast, I move that mast in time before the hurricane is there. That will be the most ideal thing, and probably lash it to the deck of the vessel. Otherwise, you make sure there's no sail, there's nothing for the wind to catch, so that when it blows the mast, it'll be like blowing a lamppost. It wouldn't be anything for the wind to hold on to cause a real problem.
Okay. My other question is, right, I always wondered why defense force boats are able to sail through hurricanes and others, and then other boats are not able to. Why is it that they build different? Explain that to me.
The defense force boats don't sail through a hurricane or in the path of a hurricane. They would sail around, they would avoid the hurricane, and then after the hurricane passes over, they come in. If they were to sail into a hurricane, they just like any other vessel, they'll be mashed up.
All right, we have another caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Good morning to your guest in studio. I think it's the Commodore from the Defense Force.
Captain Glenn Bain. You're making everybody blush. And Gamal Nuri.
Well, hey, they deserve whatever accolades they get. Thank you for serving our country.
Thank you.
Just a quick question here. Now that we have had many hurricanes over the decades, I think the one or two walking and I can't remember the other major ones that we had within recent times. I think they basically can serve as examples as the potential on the horizon that we have to deal with. My question here is, with all of the, I know we had difficulties with communications in the last one or two of them, where, the persons on the islands could not communicate effectively, or we lost total communications, period, across the grid. Has there been any improvements in terms of changing? I know the satellite phones was the last stop with the equipment that government utilized, the agencies utilized during the last hurricane. Have you heard of any new advancements in terms of communications that the government has considered for our archipelago, as well as for the island administrators and commissioners to utilize during such times. Just interested in the communications aspect. Has there been any improvements or any considerations for improvements from that standpoint? Thanks for taking my call this week.
Okay, thank you. Interesting questions.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, there have been tremendous improvement, not only with the equipment. As you know, as time moves on, the equipments, they become more upgraded and more ready. And as you probably know as well, during Dorian, some cell phone active throughout the hurricane. And I'm sure that
at least with one company.
With one particular company.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nemo would have.
Boy.
But one thing I like to say is Dwight mentioned drills. Nemo has been doing drills. I have been in the room one time and they did a particular drill about communication with all the Family Island representatives, like the what we call Commissioner Administrator's Office now, and the Met people. So they do have equipment and they do test them I'm not sure that they do it every quarter or every year, but I know they have been doing exercises, particularly to ensure that the communication remain intact. But again, that wouldn't be during hurricane. That would be outside of hurricane. Right. But yeah, the equipment were updated as far as I'm aware, and they work very well now.
Right. Also, privately, individuals can subscribe to internet or data sources individually. So there are various services that are available outside of the traditional providers where you can subscribe into them. Certainly your devices would have to be unlocked from that carrier, but there are some services out there that are independent of our local carriers, our local radio systems. So there's some alternatives out there in the event of hurricane or some loss in communication. And again, I think we have to remember that it isn't just hurricane. It could be multiple events or incidents that could impact communications in a crisis.
I want to get more of your questions in. We're talking more with Captain Glenn Bain and Gamal Nuri, and talking about maritime port safety during hurricanes and getting ready for the hurricane season. This is our Safe and Sound series with Morning Blend Business. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch on a one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Ready to step into the future? From your front door to the backyard and everywhere in between. See and speak to whoever's there with Ring Video doorbells and security cameras now available at Alive. Protect what matters most, all from one easy app, available in your Google or Apple Play Store. Visit bealive.com/ring to learn more. We are alive.
Tired of paying too many bills and loan payments each month?
Shrink your monthly debt payments down to one easy payment with our debt consolidation loan.
It also has a built-in savings that pays you 5% interest.
Inquire about our debt consolidation loans today.
Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business, our Safe and Sound series. All month long, we're looking at hurricane preparedness and readiness. And this morning, we're looking at it from a maritime port safety perspective. And we're talking with Captain Glenn Bain and Kamal Leary with the preventative measures. You can call in as well, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. Text us 422-4796 or tweet us at Morning Blend 969. Captain Bain, are there any things you see mariners doing around this time of year that you just wish you say, why are they doing this? I mean, like, you know, I know the Met Office sends out these warnings about stuff, but you still hear during this time of year, this boat hasn't come in for a few days. They're a few days late. But we heard those warnings. We heard that there was something going on. But yet people still take the chances.
Well, we do have a lot of negligence in the maritime, just like every other field, where people feel like, I mean, if we go back to Hurricane Joaquin, there was a large bulk carrier from the U.S.
You remember that?
Yeah, that they started to see but like I say, they had no official warning because this thing just came out of nowhere.
It's very quickly.
And when they tried to turn around and come back out of it, it was too late, and they actually got
quite a few people
turned
died.
Over. Yeah, quite a few people died, and this was a huge ship.
Yeah.
So people tend to believe, especially people who are seafarers, they tend to believe that, man, I can handle the sea. I tough, you know, and this boat is this built.
Yeah.
But it's not like Mother Nature when she started to lash out. You know, cruise ships wouldn't even want to face a hurricane.
Yeah.
Tankers don't want to face a hurricane. They have ships that snapped in half because they didn't take heed to hurricanes.
Yeah.
So you can only send the warning out. The Met Office sends them out on a timely basis. You see them on all the radio and TV stations, and people still feel in a lot of cases that, man, you know, I can handle this. So it's unfortunate. There's nothing you can do if they don't take the heed to the warnings.
Yeah. And conditions can change really quickly. You mentioned that a sunny day, next thing you know, gale force or stronger winds. What else would you say to people out there? What would you advise against or recommend people stop doing?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would like to say to people, prepare yourself. If you have a boat, don't wait until you're in a situation of a hurricane to say, boy, what I can do? I hope this boat don't end up in the road, right? You can do things now. You can have an anchorage that is there only for if a hurricane is coming, and you can go and secure your vessel. And if everybody does that, we wouldn't have vessels in the middle of the street when a hurricane is passed.
Yeah.
You can, you know, it's just between two docks, so that if you have the surge, your vessel is not sitting on a dock. So it's suspended by ropes on both sides, and it wouldn't be taken away, because it can just ride and then come back down when the hurricane passes over.
Yeah.
You know, when the surge subsides, it's still in place. So it's there are things you can do in advance, and I would say whatever you need to plan it out now. Just imagine that you're going to be hit with a 15-foot surge, 20-foot surge. Prepare. What do you want your boat to go through? What don't you want your boat to go through? How do you prepare so that your vessel would still be okay?
Yeah. Wow. Expect that type of surge. Hey, have you noticed, we say that the hurricanes are more intense than they were before, but are we seeing sea conditions in general different from how they were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago?
I've not been sailing in the past couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So, but based on what I know and reports I get from other people, it's basically generally the same. Now, the hurricanes are far more impacting than well, those two in particular, Joaquin and Dorian. They were really huge monsters, and we don't know if it's a cycle. I mean, I always look at it and say, well, maybe 500 years ago they had the same type thing, but nobody was around to know, right? Maybe 500 years from now, it'll come again. But the reality is, so you can prepare as much as you can. Sometimes you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, but sometimes you might.
Yeah.
Just through preparation.
Yeah.
So in the midst of an event, right? If you're caught unprepared, do you recommend an attempt to go and move the boat in during that storm?
No.
If you decide, yeah.
What you probably could do is you can probably try and run a line somehow to a tree that you know is not going to get blown down, or something.
You hope.
You hope, because again, during walking, I know some people down in Crooked Island. They told me that the large rocks, boulders,
wow,
came out of the ocean across the street and on top of people's roof.
My goodness.
And these are boulders that a couple men can't lift, because they saw them there afterwards. They know how to come out to sea. So what Mother Nature does, sometimes you say, but what they had to do in one case, one of those families told me that the only way they survived is they tied a rope around a tree in the yard. It was blowing away from the coast, and they all huddled in that boat, and that boat took a tossing, but it survived. They survived in it, and that's because the house roof and everything was gone.
Right.
So they had no other option.
And so what you're saying is some folks who are living on boats then.
No, they had the boat. These fishing villages, they have boats in the yard.
Right.
That they put to sea when they want to go fishing for a while and whatnot.
Right.
So in that case, they were in the house. And when the roof got torn off the house, they needed somewhere else to go. And they tied a rope around the tree. That was, the boat rope. And that's what kept the boat from going into the bushes.
Okay.
And they were in the boat. And that's the only way that family survived.
My God. Wow.
So are there for these marinas, for these harbors, are there international standards that have certain requirements as relates to hurricanes? Like I know you're an expert in the ISPS codes. Are there any specific aspects of the code that demand certain things be done?
Not the ISPS code in particular deals with security matters, not safety matters.
Right.
The SOLAS Convention deals with safety matters, but only safety on board ships.
Okay.
So what the IMO do not want to do is they do not want to cross threshold with the domestic, only international laws. So that's 12 feet from land. So as far as the domestic, that comes under, I assume, NEMA and the Defense Force will have a search and rescue component to it. But I don't know which ministry is responsible for disaster. Well, not disasters, but preparation. Whether it's the Met, I don't know.
But that would be
I'm sure.
Or the disaster, what is it? That Disaster Reconstruction Authority, or everything.
Right.
They would have that mind. I'm thinking that
I don't know if they would have the authority to. For example, I think in the case of Dorian, there was a clarion call for evacuation.
Right.
But how do you evacuate? You couldn't get enough vessels in there to take people out after Dorian.
Of course,
how could you evacuate within the space of 40 hours?
Right.
You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So even giving that order, you need to have provision to make that happen.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, it seems like if that were to happen again, we'd still be scrambling to figure out what to do after all these times of having a run through with this. We're still acting like this is the first time.
Yeah, and now some of the smaller communities, because like I said earlier, you nowadays would get a far more accurate projection and path of a hurricane. There's a place like Ragged Island, for example, where you only have a handful of people. You can fly in there and take everybody out before it comes. But, maybe in Nago you could take some people out, but you get some small communities and some settlements you can do that with. But there are a lot that you wouldn't be able to do that with.
Wow.
So it goes back to then, like an Abaco, like a New Providence, like a Grand Bahama, the larger populated islands. just sticking with basics, preparing, also putting the preventative measures in place from construction to readiness planning, so that, because you have no place to go. It isn't as if you're like mainland United States where you can drive upstate or whatever. There's no place to go, so you're really dependent upon what type of readiness protocols that you would have adhered to then.
Yeah, because what happened in Freeport, for example, I have an uncle live in Freeport, and a lot of his neighbors came to his house because he have a split-level house.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the few split-level houses in that area, and a lot of people want to come up to their ceiling.
Yeah,
right.
So it's hard to plan for that.
Right.
But now that they know the possibility, I'm sure that people in Freeport would be far more sensitive than people in, say, Andros, who didn't go through that.
Right.
When it comes to a hurricane coming, because they already know this hurricane can come up to the ceiling, I'll have to go in the ceiling. If it comes through, I get punch a hole through the roof, and jet skis got to rescue me. And these things were real in Dorian's case.
Yeah, and people in Grand Bahama were telling you they were nowhere near water.
Exactly.
And their streets were completely inundated. So
that's correct.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left. Your final words here.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Dwight. Yeah, I personally would just like to see an approach where there's more preventive concerns or preventive measures, not only from the authorities' perspective, but from individual perspective. If you know you have a boat, you want to secure that boat. If you know that your house is not strong, you need to get to a strong point. If you have someone in the neighborhood that has a split level, you want to get there, because these hurricanes are getting worse, and you don't know when your house is going to be flooded all the way out, and you wouldn't be able to survive.
Yeah. And Gamal.
Hey, Dwight and Glenn, thanks for coming out, Glenn. I appreciate it very much. It's good to hear and become more knowledgeable on a concern for all of us, because we are. I always say, people say the coastline is everybody in the Bahamas lives near the coast. I mean, wherever you are in the Bahamas, you live near the coast. So you should become sensitive to what are some of the threats and what are some of the mitigating things that you can do to shore up yourself while living in the Bahamas. So, we're trying to, again, bring sensitivity to this topic during the season. And the main thing is getting yourself ready and finding ways to make yourself more safe and sound.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gamal. Glenn, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me,
my friend. Pleasure. Glenn Bain. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business, our Safe and Sound series. We'll be back.
Interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future.
It is time for Morning Business Report, brought to you by CFAL. Prime Minister Philip Davis announcing that the government has approved a $160 million mixed-use golf resort, residential and marina project for Old Bycat Island that has been delayed for 14 years. Addressing the Cat Island Business Outlook, the Prime Minister said the government intends to amend the existing heads of agreement with the developer, the Cat Island Partners, who initially broke ground on the project in 2009. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. The government released its green paper, Corporate Income Tax Strategies for the Bahamas, outlining 4 possible new tax structures for businesses in the country that will align tax policies with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's Pillar 2 rules, to which the Bahamas is a signatory. The paper supposes scenarios where the minimum CIT tax rate of 15% is applied to multinationals earning more than 750 million euros, or Pillar 2 firms, while the regular business license fee applies to businesses as usual, and scenarios where all companies pay a CIT, though at different rates. Another scenario features tax structures where CIT is introduced at 2 different levels for firms, with 15% CIT applied to Pillar 2 firms and 10% to all others. To better understand this, pick up today's Guardian Business section. And Royal Caribbean International has opened a recruitment center at the Point downtown to carry out ongoing recruitment for its ships and its private island Coco Key. That's according to the company's Chief Product Innovation Officer, Jay Schneider. He told Guardian Business this yesterday on the sidelines of the Tourism Development Corporation's Tech Symposium aboard cruise ship Oasis of the Seas. The company is carrying out recruitment for Coco Key this weekend as it moves toward the opening of Hideaway Beach on the private island destination. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Thursday, your market movers, Bank of the Bahamas moving 4,100 shares, closing at $3.77, up 23 cents. Bahamas Waste moving 1,000, up 96 cents, closing at $10.61. Cable Bahamas moving 4,150, down 11 cents to $4.14. Focol moving 1,000, unchanged at $4.15. Consolidated Water down 28 cents to close at $3.68, and Emira Incorporated down 16 cents, closing at $10.38. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,001.45. That's your Market Watch. And that is your Morning Business Report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. That is it for Morning Blend Business today. And for Morning Blend, Dwight Strachan, have a great day and a wonderful weekend. Be safe, Bahamas. I'll be back on Monday with more right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green.